Hi there, this is Craig, and this is another mindfulness podcast. The theme for this one is non-striving. Striving, if you like, the opposite of non-striving, is thinking about the future too much. So, we might have a habit of thinking about the future. We might have goals that we want to achieve, there might be plans that we want to do, we may have a huge to-do list most days and we're frantically ticking them all off, in order to get our happiness or our satisfaction or achieve X, Y, and Z. In itself, achieving is fine. It's good to do things. We all have to do things, and we can really do some amazing things like decorating our homes or gardening, or all of these things. But the trick into doing things is to try and do them with being. And there's a podcast called Doing with Being in this series. And that's kind of about focusing in the moment on the task at hand and not rushing to think about the next thing or the next thing. And what we're trying to do is cultivate a habit of being in the moment, of trusting the future, not trying to force it in any way or solve a problem right there and then. If there's other things that we can be doing or sitting with, it's good to pause, good to have a break from all the future thinking. So we have habits, and in the Patience podcast as well, it talks about speed and the urgency to do things, get things done quickly. That can cultivate impatience in other situations or frustration when things don't go quite as planned, or we sometimes have expectations of things. This is all part of future thinking. Sometimes we're also delaying our happiness. Our future self might be thinking, I'll be happy when I get this room done. I'll be happy when I get on holiday. I'll be happy when this lockdown finishes. And so that's future thinking, and you're delaying your happiness until something in the future is just right for you. And so that takes you away from the moment. And often we strive for these things, we strive to pursue this happiness. And that can be all sorts of things. We might not be feeling comfortable with ourselves in the moment, so we might strive to improve ourselves, or to show off, or to tell people how brilliant we are, or to kind of force a desired outcome sometime in the future. So it's good to plan, it's okay to plan things, and it's okay to do things, but we try and do them with gentleness, with slowness, with concentration in the moment. Mindfulness is paying attention to what it is you are doing. You're not thinking about the future, you're in the moment. So whatever it is you're doing, if you're in the moment doing it, you tend to do it better because you're more focused on it, and you tend to get more joy out of it because you're really experiencing those moments. So you find actually your happiness comes automatically, it comes naturally because you're in the moment more. The striving, the future thinking, can lead to anxious thoughts. It can lead to trying to manipulate or force things to be just so. And what it's highlighting is people who do this can often do future thinking and achieve huge amounts, but they're distracting themselves from the present moment. So if you're constantly doing, you're on a wheel just doing, you'll achieve amazing amounts, but you may not have had the joy of each doing. You may not have noticed how you're feeling in the moment, or you might be doing this as a habit to get away from something that you're not liking in the moment. It could be boredom, it could be loneliness, for example. So you think, rather than sit here and just be bored, I'm going to do stuff. I'm going to do this and that and everything, and I'm going to make everything just great. And for a while that can work, but then you've done your doing and you're still bored. The boredom is still there. It might be tomorrow or next week, but you've still got that same feeling, and so you do more. So this becomes a habit, this becomes a habitual energy pattern. So in mindfulness, rather than rushing, rather than noticing the boredom and immediately filling the void with something, we stay with our boredom. We sit and we breathe and we be gentle with ourselves, and we notice what the urge is. What is this craving? What is this desire to keep doing all the time? Is it from the fact that we're not happy now? Is it from an actual desire to improve something? Where's this coming from? It's good to ask the question. Is this coming from a love-based emotion, like a genuine need to kind of help yourself out? Or is it coming from a fear-based emotion where you're anxious or you're bored or you're lonely or you're fed up now, so you're just filling time? You're just wanting to not be where you currently are, so you're wanting to do something else, so you're thinking about the future in those ways. It's good to notice the intention behind these things, and if you notice the intention, you can breathe. If it's a fear-based intention, it's far better to sit with the fear, with the boredom, with the loneliness, with the anxiety, whatever the emotion behind the fear is, and breathe and meditate and come back to the moment. And you'll find the more you sit with these things, they shift and they move of their own accord, and you find you're somewhere else anyway, without having to think about it. And you may find that you become slower and more gentle and more patient in life, and you're more accepting of what goes on in each moment, and you're not immediately rushing to get away from it. So striving is getting away from the moment, and it's wanting to hone the future a certain way so you'll be comfortable, so you'll be happy. But with mindfulness, we don't think about the future. We stay in each moment and we accept whatever comes our way. And this acceptance in itself changes our relationship with what happens and can give us a lot of peace and a lot of happiness and a lot of contentment, as well as increasing our concentration, and it improves our health. We notice emotions so we can be with those so they don't get out of hand. You find your resilience builds up. And so there's those two ways of being in the world. You can be in the moment, you can practice mindfulness, and you can have the calmness and the peace and the less fraughtness of life. Or you can be in a habit of thinking about the future, which tends to make you worry more about the future, or not trust the future so much, or feel like only you can manipulate the future and you want it to be a certain way, and all of these things which can open up all sorts of other issues. So it's a good practice to practice non-striving, which is try not to think about the future, just be in the moment with whatever it is that you're doing. And it's okay to have a plan and a goal, as I say, but we do each plan and each step towards that goal in the moment. And that way we don't get as disappointed if things go wrong, or as frustrated as things go wrong, or the expectation isn't there. It's kind of like, I'm in the moment, how am I feeling with this? Yeah, this is good, this is working for me, I'll go to the next step. Or it's like, actually, that original plan I had, I'm not actually wanting that now, I'm feeling something different. So that's okay too. We can change our minds of things, but we're more in the flow of things as opposed to future thinking. So that's what non-striving is. We'll do a meditation just now, just to finish. So I invite you to close your eyes, just relax. I have my little bell here, so I'll hit that just to start. And yeah, we'll try and ground ourselves in the moment. Try and let go of future thinking just for a while. It's good for our health. So here we go. So just start by noticing your breathing. Just noticing your in-breath and your out-breath. And feel the air going into your lungs on your in-breath. Follow all the way through on your out-breath. Breathing in, you know you're breathing in. Breathing out, you know you're breathing out. And just take a moment just to notice how you're feeling. Just feel the ground under your feet. Just notice your posture, how you're sitting in the chair or the floor. Just noticing if there's any sensations or tension anywhere in your body. And just breathe with what's there, accepting it all in. Breathing in awareness of your body. Breathing out calmness to your body. And just notice any sounds that you might hear. Noticing the spaces between the sounds. Just sinking into the quietness of your space. Noticing if there's any thoughts and letting them go. Just come back to the quiet. Noticing the sounds. And just take this moment just to breathe in kindness to yourself, to your body. Just knowing that every time you do this, You let go of habits of future or past thinking, and you enter the present moment, enjoying the calmness, peacefulness of these moments, enjoying the art of breathing. So just take another few conscious breaths. And just when you're ready, just gently open your eyes, come back to your space. Okay, so thank you for doing that meditation, just about 5 minutes really, just to ground ourselves and sit in the moment, trying not to think about the future or the past. You may have noticed that your mind did wander into the future or the past, and that's okay. You're noticing and you're bringing yourself back to the moment. This is mindfulness practice. And the more you practice mindfulness, the less your mind starts to think about the future and the past. There's a calmness to it. It's not like we don't ever think, because we do, but we notice our thinking and we can choose which ones are good for us and which ones aren't, which ones are based on love intention, not fear intention, noticing if we're rushing or running away from the moment because for some reason we're not happy with it, and choosing to come back and be with the moment, even if it is unhappy, because then things will shift and change when you sit there with your acceptance of what goes on. And so that's building resilience in you, and it's building trust in the future. And then, non-striving becomes an easier thing. So thank you. I hope that's been a useful podcast for you. And you're welcome to listen to the others here. And I'll speak to you again soon.